Fans, I'm on Michel.
Perek Sheni, this Perek deals with the Mizbeach. Shulchan. It'd be wonderful if we would have had the 3D
If anybody
imagery.
wants to buy one, you're welcome to get it.
But we'll use some of the diagrams that are here in this Kovetz.
Do they sell the Google the 3D Beis Habechira? Yeah? What? They have one?
The Lego
How much
model.
it cost? What? Okay, so bring one. We're gonna have to make it. I'll pitch it.
Oh, amazing.
A Beis Habechira, it's 3D, so it's easy. You put it down and you get this. What?
The Lego version.
No, 3D. A model. They have a model?
They have model, but I don't think I see painted one. Okay,
See what they have. See what they
Let me
have.
know. Okay.
All right. Perek Sheni, Aleph. HaMizbeach mekoymim mechuvam beyoser. The place of the Mizbeach is exact. Ve'im mishan nosim mekoymim la'olam shenemar v'zeh Mizbeach la'olam Yisrael. That the
Evan Ashisiya?
no, that is the Orin. You'll see soon why it's so exact.
That's
But
the place where
before it
Avram
says,
Avinu was there,
Yeah.
Rishon was there.
the right before it says v'zeh Mizbeach la'olam Yisrael, the pasuk says Zeh Beis Hashem Elikim. And just as the Beis Hamikdash has to be in an exact place, the Mizbeach has to also be within the Beis Hamikdash in an exact place. Mizbeach nekad Yitzchak Avinu shenemar lech lecha l'eretz Moriah v'nemar v'yivin shleim es habayis b'hara Moriah. That's the same place with the Akedah. Halacha Beis. Mesoides biyad hakoil sha'amakim shabana by David u'shleim ha'mizbeach b'goyin haravna. There's a Mesoida. It's passed down from generation to generation. That the place where David and Shlomo built the Mizbeach, where they bought from Aravna, the Yevusi, who Amakim Shabanu by Avram Mizbeach, Waglav Yitzchak. It's the same exact place that Avram brought Yitzchak on the Akedah. Who Amakim Shabanu by Noach Shotim Teva. As we know that Noach was a Teva, he built right away a Mizbeach, and it was right there. Who Mizbeach Shalav Hikriv Kain veHevel.
That's in Turkey. It's a long walk for your shrine.
Okay.
Okay, no.
Boy Hikriv.
It was a while.
Yeah, boy Hikriv Adam Rishon Sheniv a carbon, and not only that, when Adam Rishon was created, he brought a carbon on that spot.
How do they possibly know?
Umisham Nivra.
I mean, everyone
And
was
then-
even there. They weren't. It wasn't just like all lived in the same place. They always lived on the base of the
It's on the side. It's on the side.
But sorry, everyone they were all over the place.
Okay, but I'm
saying
saying,
I don't know where the place was.
Enough people were there that it should be passed down.
So that means ish mi pi ish.
You said what?
It's possible that Noach.
That what?
Is it possible that Noach knew the place where Adam Rishon and Cain Hevel brought a carbon?
Yeah.
His Elta Zayda was not.
Yeah.
His Elta Zayda saw Adam Rishon. And his father probably saw Adam Rishon already.
Yeah.
Not hard. Shais, Noach just has to tell Shem. Shem has to tell Avram. And the rest is
That's it.
everything else is Messiah.
It's all there.
Yeah, but even if you say Avram didn't meet actually Noach, it definitely met Shem. Could be met Noach too, but it definitely met Shem. So
It's a Messiah.
it's a Messiah. It's not too many people. Till Avram Avinu, 4 or 5 people. That's all it is. They live very long.
I had to say this is the place.
Okay,
If that was a place that
Not
people,
so hard.
All the tzaddikim probably always travel. There's probably a regular. It wasn't just not once in a lifetime thing. It was like probably a regular.
Serach Bas Asher was in Eretz Yisrael. She left Mitzrayim. She could have gave them. It's a Messiah. Ish mi pi ish. We have a lot of things that are ish mi pi ish.
Yep.
Even the bottom there.
Umisham Niv, and actually, Adam Rishon was created from that
The
spot.
bottom here, it doesn't bring from where. It says even the Goyim were aware of the holy site. Where it
Right.
was. They never put any idol or anything else in that place. Never place they put it.
Interesting.
That's the
Amr Chachamim, Adam Imakim Kabarase Nivra.
It's a place where everyone's always.
Yeah, but it's interesting. What he's pointing out is that even during the time of Avram, Chulu, even the Goyim knew the
They
spot.
respected that.
It wasn't just a Messiah by Yidden. Then it was even by Goyim a Messiah. And it says that Adam Imkaim Kaparasi Nivra, a person was created from the place he's going to be forgiven. Meaning Adam Rishon was created from the earth of the Mizbeach, because that's the place he gets kapara. Back in a footnote, he brings that, and it says in another place that a person was created from Adam was created from a little bit of offer of the whole world. So when he gets buried, every offer can be makabel him. How does this work with? So the Rambam says that Adam was created from the Makam Mizbeach. He says that even if you say that Adam was created from a little bit of earth of each place in the world, but where was his head created from? From Eretz Yisrael. And Eretz Yisrael Gufa from Makom HaMizbeach. That's how he answers it.
As a kid, they always told us that Hashem took it over all over the world, put it on the Mukha's way. That's we always learned.
Gimel. Midas HaMizbeach Mechuvan is Harbe. The measurements in Mizbeach are also exact. But Tzarasi, you do Ish Mi'Ish is also passed down, Ish Mi'Ish, exactly how it should look. Mizbeach Shabonu B'nei HaGoyla, Ke'im Mizbeach Sh'asa the B'nai Asul. And when they came up to Bayis Sheni, they built it like Bayis Shlishi, meaning they built it bigger than Bayis Rishon, and definitely much bigger than the Mishkan.
So it's not so Mukha's because there were different.
Right.
Oh.
Right.
You shouldn't add and you shouldn't minus. So there's a couple of pratim. The height of the Mizbeach was the same. Sai by Moshe, Sai by Shlomo, Sai by Sheni, Sai Lavi. It's the width and length that changed. Another thing is that there's a max. The Mizbeach can't be more than Shishim Amma. And that is Mechuvan. In other words, when the Rambam says you shouldn't add or minus, there's two perushim. Either he means l'chatchila don't add or minus, because you're allowed to make it up to 60 amma. It just means l'chatchila don't, or he means don't add it from 60 amma.
60 hours this way, though.
Any the width and length, not the height.
Means
Yeah, this the
the square.
yeah. You'll see that in the next halacha. Will
60
say
hours. That's pretty good.
so. Maybe the Rambam meant either he meant l'chatchila keep it to these measurements that it says that's the Masorah, even though you're allowed to add, but it's only a b'diavad. Or he meant when he said don't add, meaning don't add in the 60 amma. Either or. Dal the shloisha neviim all imam in Agoyla. There's 3 neviim came up. These are the last 3 neviim they didn't had. The beginning of Bayis Sheni. Echad heilem al makam mizbeach. One gave edus exactly what the mizbeach should be. Echad heilem al midosav. One said what the measurement should be. Echad heilem shemakivan al mizbeach hazeh kol kavan is avbi she'en sham bayis. That even if there's no Beis Hamikdash, you can build a mizbeach. You can bring karbanis. So Gnade, we all are aware. Tavshin Chav Ches, and the Rebbe said the whole Shaila, if you're allowed to be in Yerushalayim on Erev Pesach, because you can build a Mizbech, even though there's no Beis Hamikdash, and since Karm Pesach, the Chiyuv Kaddis, it's very strict. It should be Choshesh. Then maybe you're Chayav to Karm Pesach, and therefore you should leave Yerushalayim. The same thing with Pesach Sheni. The later years, the Rebbe stopped it because it wasn't possible for Eden to build a Mizbech anymore, or to do karbanis there anymore, because they gave it back to control over to the Arabs. So that was out. But it was based on this halacha.
If we would have control, we would build a mizbeach.
Yeah, but I'm saying here that you can build a mizbeach. Now the question is, the poil if you didn't build a mizbeach, like do you have a chiyuv to build? There's a debate. You could build a mizbeach. You have to. If you didn't, you're getting Easter Kaddis for not bringing. So you can argue about that. But there's a shit that says that since you could, you have to, and since you, even though we're tummy, Karm Pesach, you could bring betuma. Yeah, everyone's tummy, so you can bring a betuma. All the kabbalas you can say, even though you could build a mitzvah industry, we have another problem with tummy, but you can't say it like I'll be Karm Pesach, and it's an Easter Kaddis. So you should be b'makom derech hachayka. What? Yeah, you don't say about all karbanos. There's different. You say about carbon. Talmud, maybe a carbon that every yachid is chayiv. You don't say about.
Okay, you don't use line as an individual, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Individual,
Each one has an individual chiyuv to bring Karm Pesach, and yeah, and actually there are those who hold that you can bring a carbon on the makam of mizbeach, even if there's no mizbeach there. So that makes it even worse. I mean, even more chomer.
So when the Morozov says came from bubble, you want to do it?
Yeah, there was not a medoim, and one of the Rishonim later or beginning Acharonim was makdish a carbon, and he was planning to bring it. I don't know if they let him. That the Baruch Line let him in the end.
Oh,
The tummy also says you could be the tummy if everyone's tummy.
Chayda, because also it's b'moyada. It says it has to be in whatever. In discussion the Gemara. Weiter. Vav. Sorry, we're still. Hey, Mizbeach she'asa Moshe v'sasha Shlomo v'she'asa b'nei Goyla v'she'asa le'asais kulam esa amas goyva kolachal mehem. The height of all the times they had a Mizbeach were the same, 10 amas high. Ayin says in the Torah, Shalish Amis Kamasa, that the height has to be 3 Amis. Makom and Meracha Bovad, 3 Amis is only the top section of the Mizbeach, which is called the Makom HaMaracha. Mizbeach she'asa b'nei Agoyla, u'v'chein asa libanis, midas arke v'rachbay, 32 Amis, 32 Amis, it's a square of 32 by 32 Amis. That's a didn't by a Sheni, that's will be in by a Shlishi. We'll explain soon exactly, not every part of the Mizbeach was 32 by 32. This is the bottommost chelik of the Mizbeach. Halacha Vav. Eser Amish shel Goiva HaMizbeach mehen ba'ama bas chamisha tvachim and mehen ba'ama bas shisha tvachim. We know there's 2 ways of measuring an amma. How big is an amma? Usually an amma is 6 tvachim, but some ammis in the Beis Hamikdash were 5 tvachim ammis. So when we said the Mizbeach is 10 amis tall, really, more correct would be that it was 9 amis and 4 tvachim tall. Because 2 of the amis out of the 10, even though they were called an amma, was only 5 tvachim. The first amma, the Yisoid, was only 5 tvachim, and the top amma, the Keren, was only 5 tvachim. So we're calling it 10 amis, but in regular Amis measurements, it would have been 9 amis and 4 tvachim. So that's what he says over here, that the amis of the Mizbeach, you have to know that some were 5 and some were 6. Ashar kol amis of binyan, the rest of the Beis Hamikdash, whenever you said on a measurement of an amma b'shisha tvachim, it's 6 tvachim. The goyva kol Mizbeach, shmayim v'chamisha tefach, kum tois, that the Mizbeach was only 58 tvachim high. Meaning if 10 amis, each amma is 6, 10 times 6 is 60 tvachim. How can you say it was 58? Because 2 of the amis were only 5 tvachim. This is exactly how the Mizbeach looked, and now we have to lose a little bit of imagination and try to use our measurements or mathematics. And we have actually some pictures here. There is one picture in the Rambam, yeah. Allah chamisha tvachim, bekonas chamisha tvachim zeh yisoid. The foundation, the bottom was 5 tvachim high, and also went in 5 tvachim. And that was called the Yisoid, the foundation. Nimtza roichev shloishim amma ushnei tvachim, al roichev shloishim amma shnei tvachim. So the next section of Mizbeach, which is called the Soivev, was now 30 amma and 2 tvachim. How does that work? If you have something that's 32 amas, which is, and you minus an amma from each side, becomes 30 amas. But because you don't minus actually an amma from each side, you only minus 5 tvachim from each side. So you're not left with 30 amas, you're left with 30 amas plus 2 tvachim. So just imagine that the square of 32 by 32 now became, in the Soivev, 30 by 30, but it's 30 and 2 tvachim. Zeu Soivev. Alo shloishim tefach v'kanatz chamisha tvachim zeu Soivev. Then it went up 30 tefach, which is 6 amas, and it went in another 5 tvachim, and that area is called the Soivev. One of the reasons why it's called the Soivev is because the bottom foundation, you saw, it didn't go all around. Only 2 sides of the Mizbeach had a foundation. Now, if you look from Darim and from Maidiv, it looked like the Mizbeach was made from 3 parts. But if you look from Maidiv, or from you look from Darim or Mizrach, it looked like only 2 parts. You didn't see a foundation.
And the next page,
You have more pictures, yeah. So the next section, Makom HaMaracha, was 28 by 4 tvachim. 28 amas and 4 tvachim by 28 amas and 4 tvachim. So we have 3 sections. The bottom was 32 by 32. The middle was 30 amma mizeh amma mizeh saviv. The 4 corners had a little thing popping up. It was called the keren. That was an amma by an amma, and it was high 5 tvachim. V'chein mokim ragli hakohanim amma saviv. Inside, on the top of the mizbeach, they made a pathway where they didn't put any wood and any carbonis. They left it for kohanim to walk around. Now the kohanim can't walk around on the actual corner because in each corner there's a keren. So and you're gonna fall off. So they made the pathway on Amma in. So you have to take out from each side of the Mizbeach 2 Ammas. 1 Amma for the corner, Keren, and 1 Amma for the pathway. So where's the actual area that they actually broke Kabbanis and they set up a Maracha? 24 by 24 Ammas. Nimtza Makam Maracha Roichav Arba Vesim Amma V'Arba Tzvachim 24 and 4 Tzvachim by 24 and 4 Tzvachim. This is called Makam HaMaracha. The place where they actually put wood, and the extra Makam Kabbanis, and there's a couple different sections of wood. We have our own room for a little one of halacha.
But the Yisrael,
Quick, one more.
was really underneath the Mizbeach, only stuck out on 2 sides.
I guess.
Right? It wasn't.
One more.
Yeah, one more. Ches. Goiva kol keren v'keren chamisha tvachim. The height of each keren was 5 tvachim, not 6. That was the second amma. That was only a 5 tvachim amma. But it was still an amma ba'amma, 6 by 6 tvachim square. So the width and the length were normal ammas. The height was 5 tvachim. They were hollow inside. And this is really in the get before. The Makam Maracha was 18 tvachim high. So as you had first 5 tvachim, then it went in. You have my hat. I have a cup. Perfect. The Yisoid was 1 amma, and then it went in. Then the Soivev was 6 ammas, 30 tvachim, and it went in. Maracha was 18, was 3 ammas, which is 18 tvachim. And then you had 4 corners. You had a place for cutting to walk in. And on the top, they brought the karbanos. So it was a little steps. Nimtza chatzi goiva mizbeach keshisha tvachim miseifa soivev lamata. If you minus 6 tvachim down from the soivev, you had the exact middle of the mizbeach. Okay. Hamshich Yof.